clock tower almost defined urban existence. Timekeeping passed into time serving and time accounting and time rationing. As this took place, eternity ceased to gradually serve as the measure and focus of human actions. The clock, not the steam engine, is the key machine of the modern industrial age. He says that the clock is a piece of power machinery whose product is seconds and minutes. And increasingly, he's using a capitalistic language and, product and division and organization of something big into smaller, sizable, manageable components. It is owing to the clock that time assumes the properties of a commodity whose individual units are capable of progressive division, substitution, and transferability. Dissociating time from human and cosmological events, as was previously done, nourishes the belief in an independent world of mathematically measurable sequences. So this is grafted onto an intellectual understanding of time that is essentially mechanized, capitalistic, and rational in nature. The visual manifestations of this post-industrial ideology then, and very aptly so, cannot be anything other than the ever-pervasive grid, the mythical modernist icon. And we see this in our buildings, we see this in the way our cities are planned, we see this in the social structures that are there, in organizational structuralization, in hierarchical structures. एक organization किस तरह बनती है, office के अंदर कौन ऊपर है, कौन नीचे है. So it's ever pervasive and it's everywhere. As a desanctified space, the grid is secular in nature, often dealing with notions of materialism, sometimes science or even logic. So Rosalind Cross, who's an art critic of the 20th century, she writes about the grid: flattened, geometricized, ordered. It is anti-natural, anti-mimetic, and anti-real. It is what art looks like when it turns its back on nature. In the flatness that results from its coordinates, the grid is the means of crowding out dimensions of the real and replacing them with the lateral spread of a single surface. In the overall regularity of its organization, it is the result not of imitation, but of aesthetic decree. Now, by contrast, Islamic medieval art displays no use of regulated, restrained geometry. A geometric idiom is indeed used, and heavily so, but one that is expansive, dynamic, and radiates as if mimicking a cosmic and organic flow. In effect, it is in this sense that these artworks engage the intellect and the mind in a meditative and contemplative act. And we're looking at eternity and infinity, one that cannot be experienced directly through mortal form. So none of us can sort of experience that, but this is what the artwork or the architecture is alluding to. The patterns are anti-narrative, with no obvious beginning or an end, past or a future. Due to their recursive nature, they constantly engage the viewer in a simultaneous act of recalling and anticipation, engaging the viewer in a phenomenological experience of the world. The brick, cement, stucco, and wood no longer remain distinguishable in their materiality, but they too transform into abstract matter through their opulent ornamental camouflage. There is excessiveness of pattern or color, which engenders emptiness and fullness at the same time, a complexity in repeating iterations of pattern alluding to an ebb and flow of temporality, along with illusory state of transformation. There is a transcendence from the physical realm at every level. So yeah, so this is basically what how time sort of transforms, in my opinion.
Presentation, very clear and very nice.
Actually, I think we were looking at, I think throughout the course, we've been looking at modernity and pre-modern times and contemporary times and the basic philosophical implications जो भी हैं उसकी. So what I understood from the brief was that we had to utilize that एक topic decide करके and sort of refer to those. I didn't feel like summarizing what has been taught because it's been taught rather well by people who know history and philosophy a lot better. So my background is in art and I wanted to see कि अच्छा ठीक है क्या shift आया है, visual culture में क्या shift आया है, And let's take an artwork from the pre-modern times, and let's take an artwork from contemporary times, and then discuss shift kaise aayi hai uske andar.
اور سب سے زیادہ ہم نے ماڈرنٹی کے اوپر بات کی اور میں بہت ڈفرینٹ طریقے سے اس لفظ لیتی تھی. مجھے یہ خیال تھا کہ ماڈرن جو ہے نئی جنریشن کا جو دور ہوتا ہے اس کو کہتے ہیں اور پرانی جنریشن کے دور کو کلاسیکل یا پرانا زمانہ کہتے ہیں. بٹ ناؤ آئی کم ٹو نو دیٹ ماڈرنٹی از ڈفرنٹ پیٹرن آف تھنکنگ, جس میں جو ٹریڈیشنل طریقہ ہے سوچ کا اس کے بالکل مخالف جو طریقہ ہے اس میں ٹروتھ کو ایبسولوٹ سمجھا جاتا ہے اور ماڈرنٹی کی جو سے ٹروتھ ریلیٹیو ہوتا ہے. جو ہمارا مٹیریل ورلڈ ہے وہ ایکچوئل وہ ایک اضطراب ہے, وہ ہمارا اس کو حقیقت نہیں سمجھا جاتا. وہ یہ اور اس کے برعکس ماڈرنٹی میں جب ہم دیکھتے ہیں تو اس میں جو چیز آپ اپنی سینسز سے محسوس کر سکتے ہیں صرف اسی کو حقیقت سمجھا جاتا ہے. تو یہ ان کا آپس کا فرق ہے. اچھا, اس سوچ کا آغاز جو ہے وہ یورپ سے ہوتا ہے, جہاں پر رینائسنس پیریڈ میں 13 to 17 سینچری میں اس کو یہاں سے یہ شروع ہوا اور اس میں خدا کو ہٹا کر انسان کو ہر شے کا معیار بنا. جو پہلے آئیکونک ریپرزنٹیشن تھی وہ اسٹائلائز ہوا کرتی تھی اور اس کے بعد آہستہ آہستہ وہ بھی ریئلسٹک ہونا شروع ہوا. جو کانٹینٹ تھا وہ پہلے ریلیجیس ہوا کرتا تھا اور اس کے بعد عام انسان جو ہے اس کے اوپر سارا پہلے سوچ چینج ہوئی ہے اور اس کے بعد پھر اس کا اثر ہمارے جو زندگی کے سارے پہلو ہیں ان کے اوپر اس میں اثر انداز. In the end, I want to ask the question, جس ٹائم میں ہم رہ رہے ہیں اٹس اے ماڈرن ٹائم اور ہم ہر چیز ہر ٹیکنالوجی بھی ہم استعمال کر رہے ہیں, تو کیا ہم اس دور میں رہ کر ٹریڈیشن کو فالو کر سکتے ہیں؟ یہ ہے the ideals of today are comfort and experience. اس کا مطلب یہ ہے کہ the quality of being convenient and practical despite being improper or immoral. So the ideals of today are comfort, expediency, surface knowledge, disregard of one's ancestral heritage, and traditions catering to the lowest standards of taste and intelligence. Hypothesis of the pathetic hoarding of material objectives and possessions, disrespect for all that is inherently higher and better. In other words, a complete inversion of true values and ideals. The rising of victory flag of ignorance and banner of degeneracy. In such a time, social decadence is so widespread that it appears to be a natural component of all political institutions. The ones that dominate the daily life of our society are a part of a secret current war to remove the support of spiritual and traditional values in order to turn man into a passive instrument of dark arts. I'd like to share this diagram. یہ تیمور صاحب نے ایک لیکچر دیا تھا ٹریڈیشنل آرٹ پہ, اس کے اندر انہوں نے ایک ہائرارکی ایکسپلین کی تھی جو ٹریڈیشنل تہذیب کی روح سے جو علم کی جو سورس ہے وہ کیا ہوتی ہے. تو اس میں سب سے پہلے ایک ڈیوائن سورس ہوتا ہے, اس کے بعد اسپرٹ ہوتا ہے, دین دس سول اینڈ مائنڈ, اینڈ دین دیر از دا مٹیریل ورلڈ. سو آئی تھنک یہ جو ایک ہائرارکی کا ایک لیولز ہیں یہ بہت امپورٹنٹ ہے. ہمارے ماڈرن ٹائم میں اس قسم کی چیز جو ہے اس کو نہیں سمجھا جاتا.
And my topic is that we have a choice. We have been talking about tradition and modernity throughout our lectures over here. After reading the notes and listening to the lectures, I came to this sort of conclusion that we do have a choice in spite of the fact that we have been, we have trespassed our tradition and we are very much into the modern times. And by listening to Sir Ali Karistan's lecture, whenever we take part, make our lives fulfilled with make use of machines, there's always something that we have to pay for. We have to pay a certain price. We make use of technology and machines. And what I feel is that generally people, they are following there's a rat race of buying this machine, buying that machine, and trying to think that they will be modern, they will be considered as part of the society. And people have totally forgotten the problem that we are giving our new generation by introducing this.